6th grade. Happy lesson 49 in math class. We are cruising along. We are almost 5/12 of the way done with this book already. Once again, we got the decimals. I'm going vertical, circling ones you and I disagree on. 1.2, 1.6, 6.3, 5.2. Next row, 0.4, 0.8, 5.7, 0. Third row, 0.32, 0.48, 0.18, 0.9. Final row, 2, 3, 20, and 0.03. See how you did on the mental math as we work it on the bottom? It runs like this. I multiplied, I got $52. I times the decimal for B, right once, gives me 257.5. Dividing by 10, 40 divided by 10 gave me the 4, so 100 divided by 10 gives me 10. Estimate is 12 and 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Square root of 400 is 20. Divide by 10 gave me 20 times 3 gives me 60. Find the median. That's the middle number when I put them in order from least to greatest. There's 5 guys, so I'm looking at the third number. Smallest is 23, next is 34. The one I want then is 67. H, add them together. I have to find common denominators, which is 15. So I have 9/15 plus 5/15. 9 plus 5 is 14/15. Subtracting 9 minus 5 is 4/15. Multiplying those things together, I cross out those 3's right there, and I'm left with 1/5. Stay, change, flip it. Gives me 9 on the top and 5 on the bottom. 9/5 simplifies to 1 4/5. Good practice and review. Problem solving says Javier used a 6-yard length of string to make a rectangle that was twice as long as it was wide. What is the area of the rectangle in square feet? Okay, so here's the first thing I did, guys, is I got this piece of string, I'm going to form it into a rectangle. So I said, I have a 6-yard piece of string, the answer is what is it in square feet? So I took 6 times 3 to get 18. This piece of string is 18 feet long. I don't know how long it is, guys, so I put an X there. I said, some length, X, but the length is twice what the width is. So if this is 1x, then up here is 2x. Well, if it's 1x on the right, it's 1x on the left. If it's 2x on the top, it's 2x on the bottom. So what's my perimeter? 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2, that's 6. So 6 x's add up to my 18 feet. Well, guys, you've been doing this since like lesson 2. Missing something in multiplication, I divide. 18 divided by 6 is 3. So that tells me my x is 3. Now I go back and I just do the math, guys. So 1 times 3, this is 3. 2 times 3, this is 6. How do I find area? 3 times 6 is 18. We are working with square feet. So I have 18 square feet. So when they don't tell you what it is, guys, you just put a letter in. This is twice as much, so now I have 2 of the same letter, though. What's the key to that one? Okay? So you got 18 square feet. Today we got an awesome problem on mixed measures, guys. Yesterday we were working with changing everything from fractions, decimals, and percents. Having a good time with that stuff. Quick review, fraction to a decimal. It's a division problem, guys, top in, bottom out. Switch it around, decimal to fraction. Your decimal goes on top, your bottom, you just say it. So if it's 3/10, you write 3 and tenths. If it's 35/100, 35 and 100. Decimal to percent, right twice. Percent to decimal, left twice. And I'm trying to think the one that I skipped there. Percent to fraction, percent over 100. And then reduce it down. Okay. We're going to get ready to cruise with our lesson today, guys. Remember, these problems that we're going to do on the back side down here to show your work. Mixed measures it's a tough one because we just need to keep all our, I call them our magic numbers. What's our equivalents? How many minutes in an hour? How many hours in a day? How many feet in a yard? Inches in a foot? All that stuff. We got to keep all those things straight as we work mixed measures. There's not a whole lot to read, because it's just adding and subtracting today. It's just a lot to remember. So it says this, guys. A mixed measure is a measurement that includes different units from the same category. So different things that we'd use for length, inches, feet, yards, miles. Different things we'd use for volumes, cubic inches, cubic feet, things like that. Or time, etc. The movie was 1 hour 48 minutes long. To add mixed measures, we align the numbers in order to add the units that are the same, and then we simplify when possible. Guys, the adding is a piece of cake. It's the simplifying that's a challenge. And you're at the level of math, guys, where if it's not simplified, it's wrong. And you just need to understand that I have to take that final step because that's really what we're after today. I know you can add 7 plus 8. That's been going on for a lot of years, guys. I want to know, can you then simplify it down? Okay, so let's start practicing some of these as we add and then simplify our things. Before you get going, you might want to get your extra credit. You got the fourth color of the week, purple. I don't know why I hate purple. I always hate purple because I think of the Minnesota Vikings, and I grew up in Minnesota, but I was a Packer fan, and I caught so much grief from all my friends. So extra credit number 1, purple today. Extra credit number 2, can you name all 4 different colors we've used this week? And then extra credit number 3, can you write down why Mr. Bauer hates purple? Now, if you guys love purple, there's nothing against that. It's just bad childhood memories, right? A little traumatic for me, being a Packer fan, when the Vikings, and then they would win half the time. You know, now the Packers usually beat the Vikings, but back in the day, whoo, we lost too many times. Okay, let's get back to math class. I'm adding these things together. So step 1, guys, it's simple addition. 7 plus 8 is 15 inches. 2 plus 2 is 4 feet. And 1 plus 2 is 3 yards. Now, I start at the smallest one I go over. How many inches do I get in a foot? I get 12 inches in a foot. So I divide this guy by 12. That gives me 1 more foot. 15 minus 12 is 3 inches. Now I get 1 plus 4 is 5 feet. How many feet in a yard? That's 3. So I take my 5, I divide it by 3. 3 goes into 5 one time, that's 1 yard. I subtract 5 minus 3, and I get 2 feet left over. And then 1 plus 3 is 4 yards. So my final answer is 4 yards, 2 feet, 3 inches. So guys, what you got to do when you're done with your math problem is say, is this in what we would call lowest terms, like a fraction? I have to have lowest terms. So yep, less than 12, yep, less than 3, and it can be whatever it wants because it's the biggest one. Okay, we're doing it again this time with time. First thing I do is add them up. 5 and nothing is 5, 3 and 5 is 8. 8 and 5 and 3. Now I start simplifying. How many seconds in a minute? 60. So I divide this thing by 60. 60 goes in there one time, guys, so I carry that 1 over. I subtract what's left, and that's 25. So I have 25 seconds left. I now do 1 plus 5, switch that to an 86. How many minutes in an hour? Once again, it's 60. 60 goes into 86 one time. I subtract, I have 26 minutes down. And 1 plus 3 is 4 hours. Less than 60, final thing. Make sure you have labels that you have going on there, okay? Now we're doing it again, and this time when we do it again, we're switching to subtraction. So if I read in between those things, it says, we have practiced adding mixed numbers, now we'll learn to subtract them. When subtracting mixed numbers, it's necessary to convert units. So now you have to carry. Guys, I almost think this one's a little bit easier because you're doing the work beforehand. This one you do the addition and then you do the work after. So I'm going here on the one, I can't do the subtraction. So I'm going to cross this one out. We're doing days to hours to minutes. So I cross out my hours, it's now 9. Then I ask myself, how many minutes in an hour? 60. So I'm adding 60 to 15. 60 plus 15 is 75. Okay, if you need to do that on the side, guys, do that on the side. I did it in my head, but I got my 75. Now it's just subtraction. 5 minus nothing is 5. 7 minus 4 is 3. I got 35 minutes left. Now I got hours. Can't do the subtraction, so I cross out days. I'm down to 4 days. How many hours in a day? 24. 24 plus 9, guys, is 33. Now it's normal subtraction. 13 minus 5 is 8. 2 minus 1 is 1. I have 18 hours. Final subtraction, 4 minus 1 is 3 days. Check, less than 60, less than 24, final answer, okay? So make sure you're carrying over. This is not cross it out and add a 1, cross it out and add a 1. That's not what we're doing, we're converting. That's why this is a challenge. Okay, last one's back to mixed measures, and you can see what they did. We did 4 yards and 3 inches minus 2 yards, 1 foot, 8 inches. So step 1, I need to borrow, but I got to go all the way back to this one, guys. So I cross out the 4, make it a 3. How many feet in a yard? 3 feet. So now I have 3 feet. Now I have something I can borrow from. Cross out the 3, make it a 2. Adding 12 inches in a foot. So 12 plus 3 is 15. Now it's subtraction. 15 minus 8 is 7 inches. 2 minus 1 is 1 foot, and 3 minus 2 is 1 yard. Okay, now guys, the biggest thing I give you is make sure it's reduced to lowest terms. I hate to have you do all this work and then get it marked wrong because you didn't simplify it down. Make sure you simplify it down when you add. When you subtract, make sure you're borrowing the right way. Bringing over a 12, bringing over a 3, bringing over a 60, bringing over a 24. You got to use the conversion that's necessary for it. A lot of this will get easier when we get some practice to it. If you want a little extra practice, guys, remember you got those letters. Hopefully you have this work shown on the back of your quiz with me so that you're used to the work that needs to be done. All right, we'll see you for some problems. Sixth grade, here we go in lesson 49 with the questions. The first one we're doing is number 1. It says, what is the quotient when the sum of 0.2 is divided by the product of 0.2? So the first time I add it, the second time I'm going to multiply it. So I know that 5 times 2 is 10, but there's 3 of those, so I got 0.0 thing. Now I'm dividing, guys, so I have 0.25 being divided by 0.01. 1, 2, 1, 2. How many times does 1 go into 25? It goes in there 25 times. So working on lining up the decimals, counting the decimals, sliding the decimals, the difference between addition, multiplication, and division. Number 2 says, Darren carried the football 20 times and gained a total of 184 yards. What was his average number of yards he carried? Write your answer as a decimal. So he did a total of 184 yards over 20 carries. I'm dividing that in there. It goes in there 9 times. 9 times 20 is 180. Subtracted a 4. They said write your answer as a decimal. So add a decimal, add a 0, bring a 0 down, bring my decimal up. 20 goes into 42 times. That's 40, and I'm done. My answer is 9.2 yards per carry. That is very good. Number 4. Jeffrey counted the sides of 3 octagons, 2 hexagons, a pentagon, and 2 quadrilaterals. Altogether, how many sides did he count? Well, an octagon is 8, guys, so he had 3 times 8 equals 24. 2 hexagons is 2 times 6 is 12. A pentagon is 1 times 5 is 5. And 2 quadrilaterals is 2 times 4 is 8. And then I have to add those all together. I have 6, 11, 19. I have 1, 3, 4. He counted 49 sides. So just a review of can you name the sides based on the words that they gave you. Number 6, read the statement and answer the questions that follow. Only 2/9 of the 72 billy goats were gruff. The rest were cordial. How many of the billy goats were cordial? So guys, I'll just do it like they gave it to us. 2/9 were gruff of the 72. So that goes in there 8 times. 8 times 2 is 14, and I would just subtract that from my total. So that's, sorry, 8 times 2 is 16. Let's try to do math right, Bauer. That would be a 6 and a 5. So A, how many were the cordial? That's the opposite of it, is 56 goats. B says, what is the ratio of billy goats to cordial billy goats? So the gruff was 2/9. Therefore, the opposite of that would have been 7/9. So I'm doing 2 to 7. Written as a fraction is how I'm going to write it. That would be my answer to B. Number 9, write each of these numbers as a percent. 0.9, write twice. Add a 0 gives me 90%. 1 3/5. Now I'm going to switch 3/5 to 6/10 by times it by 2. 6/10 is 1.6. Right twice equals 160%. And 5/6, guys, I'm going to go decimal first. So I'm going to go top in, bottom out. Goes in there 0 times. Add a decimal, goes in there 8 times. That's 48. That gives me a 2.
goes into 23 times, that's an 18, that gives me another 2. So right twice is 83. What do I have left over? This 2, so it's 83 and 2, 6, which is actually 83 and 1/3%. So I switch it to a decimal, I go till it's 2 times, so I can slide it right twice, guys, and then I make it a fraction. So starts as a fraction, ends as a fraction. Okay, we just practiced that one. Now they gave us the table. The first one they give us is 75%. Left twice would be the answer for B as a decimal, 0.75. Percent means out of 100. Divide by 25 gives me 3/4. So this would be A, this would be B. The next one is 5%. Left twice is 0.05. Said correctly is 5/100. Divide by 5 is 1, divide by 5 is 20. So this would have been C, this would have been D. A, B. Okay, practicing those tables. Number 13. A 1/2 by 1/2 inch square was cut from a 1 by 1 square. What is the area of the original square? Well, guys, what they're saying is it originally started like that. 1 times 1 is 1 square inch. What is the area of the square that was removed? That's a 1/2 times a 1/2 equals 1/4 square inches. Therefore, what's the area of remaining? 1 minus 1/4. I would make my 1 into 4/4 minus 1/4 equals 3/4 square inches. So they're teaching you a way to find out when you're missing a piece is to think of it as wholes and subtract it out. So A, B, C. Number 14, what is the perimeter from that thing? Well, guys, it's an L shape. 1 plus 1 is 2, times 2 is 4 inches. Remember, if I know the total horizontal, I know the total vertical, it'd be just like if we took these sides and slipped them out. So, quick way to do that, 4 inches. Number 15, these figures below show a triangle with a 6, 8, 10 long in the 3 orientations. What is the height of the triangle when the base is? Okay, so here we go, guys. They give you all the triangles are all the same thing. Now, here comes a challenge. A is a piece of cake. The base is 6. The vertical height then is 8 because it forms a right angle. B, they switched around. This time they gave you a base of 8, so your vertical height is 6. C, they didn't give us the dotted line. And so you're going to say, how in the world am I supposed to get the dotted line? Well, guys, what we have to do is we have to figure out what the dotted line is. We need the dotted line for area. So if I go back to triangle A, I take 6 times 8 and I get 48. If I go back to B, I take 8 times 6 and get 48. So if I go to C, I'm taking 10 times what is 48. So I just take this 48, I divide it by 10. It's going to give me a decimal right between it, guys. It's going to go in there 4.8 times. So C, the height is 4.8 inches. Okay, that was a challenging one. If we couldn't think, like, I don't even know how to start to find that one. We had to go back to the areas to get there because all the areas have to be the same. Now, guys, I know you're supposed to divide them all by 2 at the end, but you still need the to be 4.8 to get there. So keep that one in mind. That's a great one of applying math to our lessons. Flipping the answer key over, we're up to 22. 22 gives me some parentheses. I have 4 and 1/6 minus 2 and 1/2. Common denominators is 1/6. This would be 3/6 as I multiply by 3 over 3. Okay, can't do that math, so I cross out the 4. I'm left with 3. I'm adding a 6 to the 1 and getting 7/6. Subtract 7/6 minus 3/6 is 4/6. 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay, now I can reduce that down, guys, to 1 2/3 if it helps. It really, in the end, doesn't matter. Okay, I obviously pressed some button, things went away. Hopefully it's all back and you're ready to continue rocking and rolling. Now I'm going to take my 3 3/4 and I'm going to add the 1 2/3 to it. Common denominators are 12, so I multiply by 3 over 3 here. I multiply by 4 over 4 here. That gives me 9/12. This gives me 8/12. Added together gives me 17/12, which equals 1 and 5/12. Carry that 1 to this stuff, add it together, and I got an answer of 5. So I have 5 and 5/12. Number 23, multiplication and division. So I got to do the division first. So I 3 times 4 is 12, plus 3 is 15 over 4. 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3 over 2. Stays the same. Changes to multiplication, flips over. 3 goes into 15 5 times, 2 goes into 4 2 times, and I'm left with 5 over 2. Now, guys, I'm not going to switch it back to a mixed number because I have to leave it when I multiply. So now I go back to the first one. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 2 is 20. 20 over 3 times my 5 over 2. Okay, 2 goes into 20 10 times. I'm left with 10 times 5 is 50, 3 times nothing is 3, and now I have to divide that. So in the box, outside the box, 3 goes in there once, that's a 3, 20, goes in there 6 times, it's an 18, I'm left over with 2, so I have 16 2/3. Great problem. A lot of math to get it there. 24 from today's lesson. 3 days, 8 hours, 15 minutes. I'm adding to it 2 days, 15 hours, 45 minutes. And I just add and I get 60. I add, I get 23. I add, I get 5. How many minutes in an hour? 60. So that carries 1 over. How many hours in a day? 24, so it carries 1 over, and I'm left with 6 days. Guys, they're going to do that a lot where we actually eliminate things. We didn't get those in our examples, but we got it a lot of times when we add, they just cross out completely. So your answer for number 24. 25 from today's lesson, this time working the subtraction. So I have, sorry, not that. I have 4 yards, 1 foot, 3 inches, minus 219. Here I go. So I'm going to cross out the feet. I'm down to 0. That brings over 12. 12 plus 3 is 15. 15 minus 9 is 6 inches. Cross out the yards. I'm down to 3. That gives me 3 feet. 3 minus 1 is 2 feet. And 3 minus 2 is 1 yard. Okay, so 1 yard, 2 feet, 6 inches. 29, evaluate LWH if the letters next to each other mean multiply. So guys, all I'm doing is multiplying 0.5 times 0.2 times 0.1. Okay, I can do all this multiplication in my head. 5 times 2 is 10 times 1 is still 10. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Making it look right, that goes away. So I have 0.01, I have 1/100th. And 30. This quadrilateral is a rectangle. Find the measure of ABC. Name a pair of angles in the quadrilateral that are complementary. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, guys, is complementary. Complementary means it forms a right angle. So I have A, B, C. Complementary forms a right angle, so angle A plus angle B are complementary. These are my angle symbols. Okay, they gave me 32, guys. They're teaching you this concept. This triangle, if I wrap it this way, lines up on this triangle. So this 32 wraps into here. So A is 32 degrees. You're eventually going to learn that's called alternate interior angles, but we're not there yet. Okay, B, how do I find B? It's complementary, which means it adds up to 90. So I take 90 minus what I know, 32, to get the other one. So cross that out, 8, 10, that gives me an 8, that gives me a 5. B is 58 degrees. BC are supplementary, which means they add up to 180. So I take my 180, I subtract it from what I know, and I get a, that's not enough room there. 10 minus 8 is 2, 7 minus 5 is 2, and 1 minus nothing is 1. So C is 122 degrees. Awesome. So they now added complementary and supplementary angles to that. And then, guys, don't forget your complementary angles down here. Awesome. Done with lesson 49. Have a great